Hey everyone! We are doing an image with white light and white foxgloves today. Sony a7R4 and 135. Here is the pullback. It's a little foxglove in my garden bed. And we are going to be using the light to sort of wash out that gray fence and the grass and the mulch. I used a kneeling pad to sit on and the Lume Cube Panel Mini set to 5600 Kelvin to add the light flare that you see here. This is the light flare that's created on the upper left side, and I used it in a way where I balanced it on the edge of my lens and sort of rocked it back and forth to add this wash of light. In this one, I added a little bit of dehaze with a linear gradient over on the right-hand side to sort of balance it, but the left-hand light is from the Lume Cube Panel Mini. And I rotated it around the lens, holding it, rocking it, pulling it away, bringing it closer. And I was literally shooting with the camera on my knees to help stabilize. And here are the little foxgloves that was hit by the light. Aren't they pretty? And now we'll get into the behind the scenes. All right, so here we are in the behind the scenes. I was sitting on my rear end on the little mat, and I was holding the 135 lens on my knee to stabilize it as best I could. Every once in a while, I had to shift myself forward and back, so I'm like literally scooting on this little green mat. It's helpful to bring one of those along, by the way. If you're sitting in mulch or you're sitting in mud or grass, if you don't want to wreck your clothes all the time. I'm not adverse to wrecking my clothes, but I try to think in advance if I know I'm going to be sitting on the ground. And so I went to the wide focus and then back to singular or flexible spot in order to have some control. But, you're juggling here. You're literally moving the light around. I had it touching the end of the lens hood and I was rocking it, and I would turn it in various directions. So sometimes it would be like the long edge on the top, and sometimes it would be the short edge on the top, and sometimes I would poke a corner down over the lens. And everything that you do changes it slightly, and you just kind of have to work with it. I mean, my goal is to just add into the image what I might do in post-processing if I was going for this really ethereal, like angelic light type look, and I'm trying to get it in camera, which to me feels more legitimate, maybe. I don't know. I can honestly say I was using a light versus, some people will be like, well, you just did that in post-processing. And it's become a challenge because of my OCF friends to create the light in camera a little bit more. So here I was just figuring out how to photograph these little guys. They're really hard because they're shaped like a trumpet. So you either get the end of it in focus or the bottom in focus, or you get the side in focus, but you can't get it all without a super deep depth of field and probably focus stacking. And I was going for this ethereal, angelic feeling anyway, so a shallow depth of field was my preference. I wanted it to feel very angelic, I guess is the word. And I was really just trying to make the fence go away because the fence has these strong vertical lines that fight against the delicate nature of the blossoms. And I'm really just trying to wash that out and make it go away. But I could also have put a backdrop up as well if I wanted to do that. Now we're going to edit these pictures, and I'm not going to edit a whole lot. With the a7R4, I find it has such huge files that I tend to shoot JPEG more often, which is fine. I know a lot of people say you need to shoot RAW, and there are definite times when RAW is the king, when you need that backup plan. But if you're shooting for macro therapy, if you're doing it for fun, then whatever works best for you is what is best. So let's review some of the images. All right, so these are all the images that I shot in maybe 5 minutes. I looked at my recorder, and I think I had 3 minutes of video total. So not a huge long shoot or anything, but we'll start to go through them. Now, my goal and intention with this was to have sort of an ethereal, dreamy thing, because I chose these white foxgloves specifically because I thought they looked dreamy. And I was looking forward to having them bloom because I thought, they're beautiful. And I had pink ones last year, which were equally beautiful, but I wanted something a little bit more refined, something a little bit more fun. And you can see here that as I was shooting, some of the times the light was too much. And so now what I'm going through is I'm just culling to find which one speaks to me. And the ones that I don't mind, I'm going to hit 5, and the rest I'm going to skip. I'm not going to just reject anything necessarily out of hand. I'm just going through, and like this one I don't like because these flowers are cut off. Now with the A7R4, it has huge files, 64 megapixels, don't quote me on that, but 60 plus megapixels. And so if I liked this one for example, I could go in here and do something like this and just deliberately crop in to it. So maybe it is a keeper. I don't know. I wanted to focus in on this one at first, but then I saw through the lens, of course, because everything is a little bit clearer as you're looking through the lens, that there was a bit of a blemish happening there. And now see, I didn't do a good job of that. When you're cloning like this, you want to make sure that your size is small enough that it gets rid of whatever the problem is, but doesn't look odd. And also that you're dealing with the same depth of field. I went over here, which was markedly more blurry. And so that looks weird. You don't want to do that. You want to pick a place close. And these are starting to age out a little bit. And so that's normal. So I'll keep that one. And I'm just going to go through. See, now this one wasn't sharp there, but this one is sharp. So if I wanted to crop this in a little bit, I could do that, and have it be more leaning that way. I don't know if I like that one. That one's definitely not a keeper. And you can see that sometimes I don't do a very good job. I was balancing everything, one handing the camera and holding the light with the other, and then the rig on top. So it was kind of heavy, and I just want to play. The point of it wasn't to just make an image for a video. It was to actually make something pretty that I would like to keep. So I'm going to continue on, looking for the one that just speaks to me. And I didn't really have one in camera that said, ooh, I love this. Now this one's kind of a possibility. I like it. What I don't like is the fence line here, and it's like brown, green, gray. There's this obvious fence line, and that's part of the reason why I brought the light into the equation, because I wanted to sort of mute out the surroundings and wash it out legitimately with light. So if I were going to use this one, I probably would go in and crop this to make it more focused on the negative space here on the other side. And yeah, I kind of like that better. So I'm going to save that one as a 5. And that one's not really much better. Some of them are better than others. And that one I kind of like because it's a little bit less, I don't know, the depth of field, it's here. And I know someone will probably say you should have deeper depth of field. I'm going for shallow and ethereal. So if there are times and there's a time and a place to have everything be really sharp. But at this point, I want one area to be really sharp, but the rest kind of soft and dreamy. I like how the light is hitting this one. Possibility. They look like little bells. They're just so pretty. Now I've started to cut off the bottom of those. And in truth, these are kind of hard to shoot because there's so many of them close together. I don't like this being out of focus, so I'm going to pass on that one. If I could get one with the closer edge in focus, I think I'd like it better. Oops, I'm trying to go backwards, and it's being a stinker. Ooh, I kind of like that one. I like that one better because this is in focus and it's all kind of dreamy. I'm kind of thinking like angelic light. I might want to clean up that one blemish though that I did in that one. That's a possibility. Ooh, going back. That one's kind of neat on its own. The bell shape and the rich bokeh there. I took a lot. There are a lot of them here. I don't know. Let me step back here and see kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I guess I'll just continue on my merry way. This is kind of how I cull. Just, does anything strike me as pretty? I like that one. And the reason I like it is because not only do I have the light from the Lume Cube, but I also have the sun started streaming in behind me as I was shooting. And I like how it's mixing with the light. So it's like there's multiple light sources there. I like that one too. That one, the sun had dipped behind, and I would have to go in and, I don't have to do anything. I should say that. I don't have to clean it up, but if it's a blemish versus just the little spots that they have, I think I kind of like that one. This one's sort of speaking to me. I can make it brighter. I can add some texture. I know I've mentioned it in other videos, but I like texture versus clarity or sharpness because I think it adds the pop without it being crispy looking. At least it can be crispy looking, but I like the wash of light here. Maybe up the contrast a little bit. I like that. I don't know how I feel about all of it, but I'm not one to shy away from the blemishes of flowers. I feel like if we're looking for perfection with flowers or anything in life, really, we're going to be disappointed. The only thing that does bug me is noise, not noise, but noise doesn't bother me. Dust on my sensor can be distracting, so I don't like that. And I might make this one red. Well, actually, this one doesn't have that. That's Lightroom Classic. Sorry, my bad. This is another one that's good. I don't know. I might make this one 5 as well and come back and let's make that one a pick. And I'm going to go back to the one that I had there and make that one a pick too. Kind of compare them. Which one do I like better? So this one isn't as sharp. And this one, the sunlight itself was coming through quite heavily. That one's kind of neat. It's sort of tipped down, and this is in focus, and then these are in various amounts of focus. Maybe keep that one as a possibility. Ooh, I kind of like that one too. This one's sort of off in the haze. Now you probably are liking some of them more than I am or whatever, and that's kind of neat. I mean, I'm an equal opportunity lover of flowers. And then we're back to my little pad there. Whoops. All right, so let's see. Which one was speaking to me? I think the ones that I liked the best were, let me step back. Sometimes I have to step back, and let's just filter them by the 5s. So that I can look and see what I have. Which one? I'll give them a second look. I like that one. I don't like that one. I'm going to make that one just a 1 instead. That one's pretty because it shows the structure of the plant. We see more of the leaves and it feels like an ethereal wash, but it might be too much light. I like this one because we get the feeling of the whole plant there. I really do like that one. I think I'm going to make that one a pick. And that one's closer in and this one's more stepped back. I like this one better. But I think I cropped this one if I'm remembering correctly. So if I took the crop off and went as shot, it's really not any different. And often with video, I like to just test it with 16:9. Because this is what I'd use for the cover of the video. And I still have the sandwich here of gray fence, green grass, and brown mulch. And that's kind of not as attractive as I'd like it to be either. But we can work with that. We can work with that. So we'll go with that. Take this off. And various levels of in focus. That one's, actually that's more in focus. How weird. That one's not quite as sharp as this one. So we'll make that one a pick. And I think this one was speaking to me too. I liked how the sunlight was coming in. I'm going to make that one a pick too. So I think I'm going to edit up these options here. I just like that one. I think it's pretty without the light. And I think I fixed one of these. Yeah, this one. So make that, I already made it a pick. All right, so now I'm going to filter by picks and hit the G key to see what we all have. So these are picks and 5s. And as you saw me edit the one before, there's not much that goes into it. I mean, I did the little healing. Sorry, I'm always hitting the crop tool instead of the healing tool. I wanted to get that out just to make it a little bit less of a mess. And then I have a dust speck or something on there on my sensor. And that's about it for that part. Add some contrast. Add a little bit of texture. Right there. And we can call that good. Yeah. I think those are nice. I don't think I'm going to do anything more to them other than doing some cropping for different purposes. But I like how clear they are. You know, this one is a bit out of focus right here. And I think this one was the same version, but more in focus on the lip of it. And I'm not sure which I like better. Maybe you could tell me. I mean, this one has this sort of ragged edge more in focus, and this one has the tongue right inside the mouth in focus, and then this is sharper in focus over here. I think I like this one better because honestly, this isn't the prettiest part of the flower. It's the overall shape of the flower that's so beautiful. It's like a little trumpet. And I think that focusing on the bit of imperfections takes away from the beauty of the bell shape that we're, or the horn shape that we're seeing right here. So I think this one is a better choice than this one as far as aesthetics go. Oops. Yeah, I like that one better. Anyway, I'll share these in the beginning of the video. You'll see those, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for joining me.